Hi guys, it's John from ReelBlue Custom Rods, and today I'm going to start walking you through the 5 easy steps to building your own custom gaff, like the ones you see here. But first, I want to say thank you to SR for becoming my first channel member here on YouTube, and welcome you to the team. Thanks again, SR, for supporting ReelBlue Custom Rods and supporting myself and my channel. If you're not a member and are interested in becoming one, you can sign up for one of the 3 membership levels that I have: member, elite member, and super fan, here on my YouTube channel on the homepage. Now back to building this gaff. So some of the things you will need to build a gaff like the one we're starting today is you need a 63-inch gaff blank by Rain Shadow. Again, it's a gaff blank, not a fishing rod blank. Okay, so a 63-inch gaff blank by Rain Shadow. A 3-inch Winthrop hook like the one you see here. And the reason why I've chosen a 3-inch hook, you know, there's 2, 3, 4, and even up to 5-inch hooks, right? I feel like the 3-inch hook is really the ideal size gaff hook. That's probably the most universal. Okay, so the 3-inch gaff hook is the most universal hook I think that is out there. It allows you to, gaff a wide variety or sizes of fish, and that's, determined by the gap here, between the shaft and the point. You'll also need shrink tube for handle material, a size 2 Fuji or CRB doorknob, like you see here for your fighting butt, your choices of thread or colors of thread, if you will. The finish you like to use, I like to use flex coat, but you can use whatever you want. And some sort of paste, like I have here with the Pro Paste. So the first thing that we want to do is that we want to add the hook. The first step we want to do is add the hook to the gaff blank. And so to do so, the gaff blank that you have, like this one here, as you can see, there's a hole right here at the top. And so when you get your gaff blank, your hook, the shaft of your hook may not fit inside of that hole. And then all you have to do is just take your drill and a drill bit and then just slowly drill down inside there and just kind of create, a little bit larger size or opening to receive, the shaft of the gaff hook, right? So that's really kind of a prep work step, if you will. The next thing I want to talk about really is the hook and how much of the hook that we want to insert into the gaff blank. And this is kind of an important step, and there's really a reason behind it. So as you can see here, the gaff has a lot of different gouges or cutouts, that have been placed along the shaft, and then even kind of a cross pattern here. And that is created to really allow for more epoxy to bind into the gaff or hold the gaff when it's inside of the blank, right? But so the first thing I'm going to do really is a dry fit. So I'm going to take my gaff blank, and then I'm going to take the gaff and I'm going to insert the shaft. And really, when I start inserting the shaft, right, I'm just going to twist it in. And this is, again, just a dry fit. I just want to give you guys an understanding of what I'm doing here. And so I'm just spinning it to go in. All right, so now I want to start looking at where I want to stop putting this in. And there's a couple of reasons why. So the first reason is you can see the difference between where the tip finishes here. If I draw a line, kind of where the tip finishes, and it goes to the blank, all right? So when this is on the dryer, I really only have this much room to spin around, depending on how much, if I'm doing any thread work or any finish on here, this can't rest on the dryer, right? And so I may need to use this as a spot to rest on the dryer. And so I just need to take that into consideration as depending on how far down I'm going to stick this gaff. The second thing, of course, is I need to have the gaff in far enough so I don't have a failure. And the third thing is, I have to have enough room left on this, on the gaff shaft right here to build up a cone of epoxy. And you guys will see that here a little later. And that's a step we do after the gaff is nice and secure and dry inside of the blank, the gaff blank. So, I mean, I can go all the way down inside here, all the way up to here if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I think I'm going to really stop right here about that ring, that one break ring right here. And so I think I'll go down to about there when I apply that. So after that dry fitting, I'm just going to go ahead and take the gaff out. And again, I'm just doing like a little dry set here. And it's nice and tight and snug, which is how you want it. You just don't want it all kind of loosey-goosey, if you will, in there. So once I have the dry fitted for the gaff and I know how that's going to work, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Bust out some, trusty cardboard. Get some shop towels ready. And then I'm just going to tear up some shop towels so I have some ready when I'm dealing with the epoxy. All right. And then the last thing I want to make sure I've got ready just in case it gets a little messy. I got some, 91% isopropyl alcohol. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some epoxy. And this is my part A, the resin here. I think that's probably enough for right now. And there's a reason why I'm using a stick versus I'm using a popsicle stick versus like a tongue depressor or something like this. And you'll see why here in a minute. Those tongue depressors or flat pieces of wood are really good for mixing and, covering, a large area. Like if I was adding a handle to a blank or something. And this is my part B, but you'll see why I'm using this stick instead of one of those here in a second. All right, so part A, part B, and we're just going to go ahead and mix that up. No crazy science behind this. You just, as you guys know already, you just want to have a good mixture. Okay, I think that's good enough. So here is why I am using a stick. So what I'm going to start doing is sticking some of this epoxy down inside of the gaff blank. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the gaff is going inside there, right? So I want to make sure that I have enough epoxy in there to hold this thing. And if I'm using a shorter one, there's ways to get some stuff down on the inside from the back end of the gaff blank. But so what I want to do is I want to get as much of this in here as I can. And down there as far as I can. Oh, sorry. I know it kind of went off the screen there. All right. We're going to call that quits for right there. So I've got some paste inside the Gaff blank. And now what I want to do is I'm going to come back to the Gaff itself, right? And I said I was going to come all the way up to that first notch. That first notch right there. And now what I'm doing is I'm just taking plenty of this epoxy, pro paste if you will, and I'm being quite liberal with it. And I'm just getting that on there. All right. And then now what I want to do is I'm going to take my Gaff blank and my Gaff. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and screw that in there. And I'm doing that over the cardboard in case it gets a little messy. You can see some of that paste wants to come off, and that's okay. And I'm just screwing that in just because I can't easily push it in. Really, that's kind of why I'm screwing it in, if you will. And I think that's about to the spot I want to go. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to come back and I'm going to take some of this shop towel and I'm just going to wipe it off. Now I'm going to come back with another shop towel, put some alcohol on it, and I'm just going to clean that end up right there. And that's it. And I'm going to leave that paste like I have it right there. Right, I'm not going to clean that up. I want to leave that there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take some more alcohol and I'm just going to go on here on my hook where I touched it at, and I'm just going to make sure I don't have any paste resin on there. And that's really it. Like I said, wipe that off again. And that's it. So that's really attaching the Gaff to the Gaff blank. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to take a little bit more paste and then I am going to start adding this paste here. And it's not going to look sexy at first. It's what I'm trying to do is build up a cone of paste. And so now what I'll do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to take a little bit of alcohol again. And I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. And this is going to take, for me, it takes a couple goes at it to get the actual cone on there, if you will. And then I just want to make sure I've got it cleaned up where I don't want the paste at. All right. And so I think that's good. So now what I'm going to do is you can see that I've got a little bit of paste there around that, and I'm kind of starting to build up a cone. And so I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and then add another coat of paste to get that finished cone, if you will. And really that cone is going to be a smooth transition, or help us create that smooth transition from the end of the blank to the beginning of the gaff where we're going to start our work at. And I can see I've got a little bit, I still have a little bit of, I don't want to clean up, a little bit of paste I want to clean up right there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and let this dry, and then we're going to apply the second coat of paste to that. Okay, guys. So this first coat of epoxy or pro paste that I applied is gone ahead and cured already. So it's been about 24 hours, so that's nice and cured. So now what I'm going to do is I've mixed up a little bit more of my pro paste, and then I'm just going to continue adding and going up to this mark here to help build this cone that I'm working on, really, again, to make a smooth transition between the end of the gaff blank and where we want the, where we want it to finish onto the actual gaff. So I'm just adding. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit more back here in the back side. You just got to kind of, be patient a little bit as you're applying. All right. So now that I have that part done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a tissue and I'm just going to piece of shop towel and just rotate. Just like that. And so I use the tissue to help kind of get that on there, if you will, and try to help smooth it out. But I've gone a little high, and so what I want to do is I'm going to come back with some of my alcohol. Wipe that off there. And wipe it off my blank. And then maybe a little bit more. And then that's really it. What I'm going to do now is I am going to let this dry. Actually, I'm gonna come back and get one more spot. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let that dry a little bit for probably about 4 hours. And then once that's done, and it's not completely dry, but it's firmed up a bit, I'll come back with my finger and I'll wet my finger a little bit and I'll help kind of mat it down where it's a little bumpy and kind of smooth it out a little bit. But that'll give us a finished cone, and it basically an area for us to apply some thread wrap over for a transition from the hook to the end of the gaff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So the next step would be we'll be applying some thread wrap over the top of that. That'll be in the next video. So for today, hey, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you got a lot out of the video, go ahead, hit the like button. Feel free to share the video with somebody you think that'll get something out of it. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you watch this next video here. And until next time.